I'm talking. Oh, there I am. Okay. We seem to have some kind of oddness going on in the. There we go. That sounds better. Okay. Careful. Okay. I want us to breathe together. I'm going to count to 3, and then we're going to breathe in and out. We're going to do that about 3 times. Okay? 1, 2, 3. We just conspired. The definition, the root of the word conspire, is to breathe together. It comes from the Latin, to breathe together. One of the things I noticed in looking this up is that in many languages, the word for the breath and the word for spirit are the same. It's not just in Latin. It runs through many languages. So we spirited together. Now, interestingly, the concept of conspiracy has gotten a really bad rep. I noticed this when I started looking for definitions, that in almost every case, it talks about it being for harmful, illegal, evil reasons that people are getting together. I noticed that there were some that kind of put that in parentheses, like they know it used to mean something that could be good, and now they've got these kind of like little parentheses around it, but it's gone to this direction. I'm going to propose that a less evil orientation would be it's an explanation that is counter to the commonly accepted way of understanding. A conspiracy might be an explanation counter to the common way. So the way a conspiracy theory would start is that there is an explanation out there for some event or series of events or way things work. And someone says, yeah, there's a hole in that somewhere. There's something that doesn't explain well. And then they would explain that. But then if you want to have a good theory, you need to explain all the parts that are attached to it. You need to be able to explain how everything happens the way it happens under your new idea. And this has been going on for a long time. I mean, once upon a time we thought that the Earth was the center, not just of our solar system, but the universe as a whole. We were the middle. And when Galileo said, I don't think so. I think we're heliocentric here. We're going around the sun. He was imprisoned because that was not the common current explanation. There was a time when we thought the world was flat until a few bold souls went out and said, I think it's round. I'm going to go out and prove it. There was a time when we thought leeches made good medicine. We read a book in a book club I was in called the Ghost Map. It was about a cholera epidemic in London. And at the time, the guy that this book is about and was tracking it down comes up with this theory that maybe it's the water supply. But the medical society, the scientists of the time, did not believe that was possible, and they worked against this idea. So stepping out of the common explanation is considered kind of a conspiracy. So we have a common belief that's propagated in the world and has for a long time that there is a devil and that there are things that are evil in the world. Authorities have stated that that's how things are. And if you think about that, then our whole philosophy is kind of a conspiracy theory, isn't it? The science of mind is a conspiracy theory because we think it works differently than this commonly held explanation that comes to us from high authority and has been handed down through years. We believe that the universe is for us, that God creates only good, that in fact it would be chaos if God created this counter to itself, this doer of bad things, this one that leads us astray. So we think that this whole theory that has been put out there that says the reason people aren't wonderful and good and perfect all the time in our perception and judgment is that there is some evil. Now, we got trained that there's only this one God, so therefore God must have created its counterpart. Why? To play games with us? To make some little chess match down there between good and evil and we're the pawns? We don't think so. We don't think that's the way it works at all. And so we have developed what many might consider a conspiracy theory, that we have a good universe working for us in every way, wanting only good, and that even that which we perceive as not being so good may just be our perception issue or our failure to align with the good that is ours. I put a couple of quotes on the front, several. Let me give you the Ernest Holmes one here. So this is our conspiracy. This is our belief. All that is in the universe is with us. Nothing is against us. Each one of us has access immediately in our own consciousness to that absolute, unconditioned presence, which molds and makes things out of itself, by itself directly becoming the thing it makes. The good which we desire passes out of it as though it came from the very hand of God, which it does. So there's this conspiracy theory we have that it's a good universe working for us. I'll give you a couple more quotes from Ernest Holmes. These actually come out of our magazines over time. All good is available to you, not some part of it, but all of it. It is not only available, it is usable. It is ever present and inexhaustible. First, know that God is all there is and that God is available. God is all there is and God is available. Then realize that the divine law always responds and that your treatment causes it to respond in a way that removes any negative situation and replaces it with harmony. And one more. Ernest Holmes, I love his words. We don't say enough of his words here sometimes. You should forever increase this receptivity, continuously extending and expanding your comprehension. Declare 100 times a day, good and more good is mine. There is no limit to the good that is mine. Everywhere I go, I see this good, I feel it, I experience it. It presses itself against me, flows through me, expresses itself in me, and multiplies itself around me. Now, add to that our concept that when we do our part, the universe or spirit conspires, breathes within itself, to provide whatever it is we're looking for. So when we get it, that the universe is for us, and then we decide what we want within that universe of good, everything aligns and gets going to support us in that. Okay? The other quotes on the front are from, I think Paul Coelho is a little more current. When you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Once you make a decision, the universe conspires to make it happen. Look at the sky, we are not alone. The whole universe is friendly to us and conspires only to give the best to those who dream and work. Now work, that's part of it. That's part of what we talk about here. We call ourselves practitioners. We get capital P's if we go through a certain training, but we're all practitioners all the time. We are practicing whatever it is we believe, and we're getting the results of what we believe. And so part of the work that we do here is to get in that place where what we are practicing is the reception of this good, the belief in this good, the expectation of that good, and the expectation that when we set our desire out, indeed, a conspiracy happens, a coming together of all the good in the universe to provide that for us. Now, we've probably all got stories about this, right? I've told some of mine, but I found one. Well, actually, my husband brought me one from today's paper, so I'm going to share this to you. There's a guy named Tyler Trent, and he is a fan of Purdue football. I don't know how many of you watch football, saw that yesterday. Tyler is in the end stages of bone cancer. He's been fighting it throughout his life, but he is a huge Purdue fan, and he was actually a student there until he's had to withdraw now, and he's gone into hospice care. But he has continued to be a huge Purdue fan. And so he decided and told people weeks ago that Purdue was going to beat Ohio State yesterday. Ohio State, rated number 2 in the country, undefeated. Purdue started off with 3 losses this year, but he told them, we're going to win that game. And word of this, the Purdue campus has taken him to heart, and the word has gotten out. The whole state apparently is kind of interested in Trent these days. So when the football team captains visited him a few weeks ago, and he told them then, we're going to win that game, they agreed to work on that for him, that they were going to win that game. Mike Pence, our vice president, used to be the governor in Indiana. Mike called him up one day. He says, hi, this is Mike. Trent goes, Mike who? And it turns out it was Pence. And rather interestingly, somehow, this idea that he needed to be at this game that he had predicted they would win had gotten up to that level. And so what happened yesterday is that a police escort came in a limo, and along with them came a Secret Service agent who happened to be in town for some other good reason, maybe because he got sent there, who rode with them, had all the credentials to take them through whatever roadblocks or anything there was. People lined the streets because they were conspiring to make this a special day for him. I did this over and over before coming here so I wouldn't cry. I'm going to work on it. I might have to breathe now and then. Okay, so they go through all of that, and they go to this stadium, and there are pictures of this guy, and he's got on his Purdue with big P's all over, and he's got them shaved into his head or drawn onto his head. And he goes up to the Cancer Research Center's box, which is right next to the president's box, and sits down. And at the beginning of the game, apparently it is custom in Indiana, in Purdue, and this is an odd one. Now, I'm from Alabama, right? We do roll tide, roll when the kickoff happens. And our opponents from Auburn say, War Eagle. Well, what they say up there is, forgive me, IU sucks. That's their chant. It doesn't matter whether they're playing Indiana University or not. Whoever they're playing, their chant is IU sucks. But someone decided to conspire to get the entire stadium to yell, cancer sucks. And so there's Tyler, maybe the last game he's ever going to be at, and the whole stadium stands up and they yell, cancer sucks. And Purdue proceeds to just mash Ohio State and win the game. The band has come up and played. He's been interviewed. But what a wonderful way to watch a conspiracy happen. Conspiring can be to the good. Don't let the fact that the definitions in the dictionary have suddenly gotten the idea that there's something bad about conspiring. Conspiring is a good thing when we do it together and we're breathing spirit together in the process. I have a local conspiracy I would like you to sign on to. And I alluded to it earlier. We have a vision and mission statement for this center now. It has come into being. And I want to talk about our mission. And I realized that I typed it on here, our mission is to be, and what it really should say is we are. See, I got caught in my own trap of putting things out in the future and something that doesn't exist. We are a conscious and inclusive community, sharing spiritual principles that inspire and empower. That's the conspiracy I would like to start and enlist you in as members of this center and people who are interested in this center. I would like to enlist you in my conspiracy theory that if we state and hold and claim and make our place in the law of God, that we are conscious and inclusive and share spiritual principles, and those principles inspire and empower. That's what happens here. This is something we can do together, and it was our personal conspiracy of good. Now, we can take this outside these doors. This isn't just we're kind of already in on that conspiracy inside the doors, aren't we? We're already into this. Where it needs to go is out the doors. It needs to be oozing out of this building in ways that people recognize. When we put a sign up, it needs to say whatever that sign says. What it really needs to do is go into people's hearts and go, that looks like a place that's conscious and inclusive. That looks like a place I might be able to find some spiritual principles that would inspire me and empower me. Right? That's what we want to be about. And that takes a consciousness in each of us individually and a consciousness as a group. But we can do this thing. So that the one who's already manifesting pretty stuff. Good job. Good job. We have the most powerful teaching on the planet. We aren't the only ones that have it. We didn't invent it. We've just brought it together in a way that sings to some people. Us, perhaps others. There are other ways of talking about it that show up in other places. But there are people that want it just the way we're providing it here, and they don't know about us yet. We are the right way for some, not everybody, and that's okay. There are many paths to God. We acknowledge that. But there is this path, and it has sung to each of us, and it sings to others too. So let's conspire to get the word out. I don't know how they got 90,000 people to say cancer sucks yesterday, but they did. I don't think it took them long. Word got out. There's got to be a way to get the word out with ease, to get the consciousness out that says, here lies a really cool conspiracy of good in this world. I know that God is good and more good and all good. I know that this good rains down in my life, and it is only me that gets in its way. And so I step out of the way, and as I step for all of us, out of the way of that wonderful good that only wants to be expressed in its fullness, in its wholeness, as each of us individually. The God of all good desires its own expression, and as we conspire to allow that, good things happen. Knowing this is so for each of us, I let this time go, and I let this thought sink in and become part of an active shift and change. And I know that that is good, and so it is.